Hi, everyone. Today I want to review the future perfect tense with you. This is a verb tense that gives trouble to lots of learners. I think that's because it's not used as often as other tenses, mainly because there are other ways that native speakers have to express the same ideas that future perfect tense supports. So since it's not used as often as some other tenses, English learners don't get as many opportunities to hear it in the real world or in film. However, learning the structure, or what I call the formula of a verb tense, is not quite enough. We must also learn and fully understand why we should use the verb tense. So, why should we use the future perfect tense? Well, future perfect tense shows something that will be completed before another thing in the future. The key thing here is that both things need to be in the future. One will happen, and then another will happen. Are you ready for the formula? Here it is. Subject will have plus past participle, or what many students know as verb 3. Of course, contractions in negative form are optional. You can also say subject'll have, or subject will not have, or subject won't have, plus verb 3, also known as the past participle. All right, let's make some sentences. Remember, we are going to be talking about something that happens before another thing in the future. To help you, we will use color. The first thing that happens in the future will be in yellow. The thing that happens first in the future will be in future perfect tense. We will use white to represent the second time in the future, which is later, okay? By the time the plane lands, I'll have finished this book. Look carefully. Both of these things will happen in the future. Which one will happen first? Will the plane land first, or will the book be finished first? Remember, we use future perfect. Will have plus verb 3 to show the thing that happens first. In this example, we used a contraction. We used I'll instead of I will. That's perfectly okay. So the book will be finished first, and then the plane will land. Notice also that we used lands and not will land. We do not need will in the by the time clause, by the time the plane lands. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Remember, both things will happen in the future. The one that happens first will be in future perfect tense, and it will be in yellow. I'll have finished my master's degree by the time I'm 25. First, the master's degree will be finished. Then, the person will turn 25. We used future perfect to show the thing that happens first in the future. Now, you might have noticed that the last two examples that I gave you both use the phrase by the time to show the thing that happens last, the thing that happens after the first thing. However, we can use other phrases too. Take a look. Next month, he'll have completed his project, so we can visit you guys then. First, he will complete his project. Then, sometime next month, we can visit you. Okay, here's a similar one. This time next year, we'll have moved to Yangon. Remember, the parts in yellow are in future perfect. They happen first. We will move to Yangon before this same time next year. Let's look at some other phrases of time that we can use with future perfect tense. In plus month, in plus year, or in plus period of time, in December, in 2065, in 9 weeks. In December, I will have started my new job. In 2065, I will have become a master painter. In 9 months, I will have learned to cook Burmese food very well. Now let's look at a time phrase that's kind of fancy. Notice the possessive form in each example. In 1 year's time, in 3 weeks' time, in 10 years' time. That just means 1 year from now, 3 weeks from now, 10 years from now. This structure sounds lovely, doesn't it? Now, before we finish, I want to talk about an interesting thing that the future perfect tense can do. If you use the verb been for the past participle, or verb 3, something interesting happens. If you use the be verb been, a predicate noun or predicate adjective can follow it. Predicate nouns and predicate adjectives are subject complements. That means that they say something about the subject of the sentence. Let me explain. A predicate noun renames the subject of the sentence. For example, I am a teacher. Teacher is a predicate noun. With the help of the be verb, am, it renames the subject, I. We have to be careful with predicate nouns. They have to make sense and truly rename the subject. We cannot say, I want to be a successful business. A human cannot be a business, right? However, we can say, I want to be a successful businessman. A human can be a businessman or woman. That does make sense. Remember, be very careful with a noun that follows a be verb. A noun that follows a be verb must be able to properly rename the subject. How about predicate adjectives? What do you think they do? A predicate adjective describes the subject of a sentence. Look here. She was sleepy. The predicate adjective sleepy follows the be verb was. It describes the subject of the sentence. Let's look at another one. Lacquerware is beautiful. The predicate adjective here is beautiful. It follows the be verb is. All right? We have just reviewed predicate nouns and predicate adjectives. Let's carry on and discuss how they relate to future perfect tense. Remember, future perfect tense talks about two things that will happen in the future. One will happen before another. The one that happens first should be expressed in future perfect tense. Subject, will have. Verb 3. If you use the be verb been as the past participle, or verb 3, in this formula, a predicate noun or predicate adjective can follow. Look here. I will have been a teacher. Teacher is a predicate noun. I will have been married. Married is a predicate adjective. If you use this formula with been, something interesting happens. You already know that we need to use another thing or specific point in the future next, right? Like this. Next September, I will have been a teacher. In 5 months, I will have been married. The interesting thing that happens when we use been as our past participle is that we can also add the duration or length of time. This special case with been is great for discussing future anniversaries. Take a look at the finished sentences to see what I mean. Next September, I will have been a teacher for 10 years. Or, next September is my 10-year anniversary for being a teacher. Here's the next one. In 5 months, I will have been married for 18 years. Or, my 18-year wedding anniversary is in 5 months. If you choose to use been as your past participle, or verb 3, in the future perfect tense, you should remember these 3 elements. First, remember the basic formula for the main clause. We will keep that part in yellow. Subject, will have been, plus predicate noun or predicate adjective. Second, we need to show the duration. For example, for 3 years, for 5 days, for a decade. We will use orange to show the duration. And finally, we need to show the specific time when this anniversary will happen. For example, next September in 2065 or on Monday. We will use white for the specific time, okay? Now, if you have those 3 elements, you can create a nice sentence with future perfect tense and the verb been. Let's look at some more examples using the three elements. We will divide the sentence using yellow, orange, and white to help you see the three elements in each sentence. Ready? Here's the first one. Next July, I will have been a resident in Singapore for 5 years. Do you see the three elements? Good. And look, we have a predicate noun after been in this clause. The predicate noun is resident. It can rename the subject I. Got it? Good. Now, let's do the next one. In December, I will have been single for 6 months. Do you see the three elements here? Good. And notice what follows the verb been. Single is a predicate adjective. Let's move on to one more. I will have been here for 1 hour by the time my train arrives. Do you see the three elements? Wonderful. But notice what follows the verb been. Here is not a predicate noun. It's also not a predicate adjective. Here is an adverb of place, and it can also be used in this kind of future perfect structure with been as the main verb. That's interesting, right? Be careful. We cannot use this three-step formula to add the duration like this when we use future perfect tense with a regular action verb like will have gone or will have eaten. We can't say, I will have gone to Bangkok for 5 months, or I will have eaten coconut noodles for 2 minutes. Using an action verb like this in future perfect does not make sense. There is another verb tense that we use to communicate these thoughts, but that is for another day. The key thing is that you understand that we use this special formula with been and a predicate noun or predicate adjective. There are lots of other things that we could use after been, and there's even another reason to use future perfect. However, that's for another time. I think this video has been long enough, and you deserve a rest. Take care now. See you in the next video.
Pepe, could I do the music for this review, please?
Sure, Thale. Give it a try.